Hello everyone. Welcome to I Jump Instead. Welcome to this 30-minute rehab tutorial. I normally do a full workout in this 30-minute class, which we are going to go through moves and be getting our strength, flexibility, and heart rate up. But this is going to be more geared towards working through the body and getting into specific joints to promote healing, because I know that sometimes when we have an aggravation in an area, we do move throughout our day, but we don't focus in on really working into the flexibility and strength in that specific injury. And I want you to have all the tools that you need to make sure that you can get your injury healed so that you can really take your rebounding journey to the highest level. And maybe you're finding this video and you don't know about rebounding yet, and you're wondering if rebounding can be good for you to rehab your injury. And so I want to show you in this video today how you can use the rebounder to help you heal an injury, because rebounding does promote circulation. It actually, I wrote here, it says rebounding offers gentle rhythmic movements, which is the up and down motion, that support soft tissue repair, circulation, and lymphatic drainage, all of which aid in recovery and injury prevention. So rebounding is a beautiful tool to have in our lives, not only just to keep the foundation of our bodies healthy, but also to potentially be the safest, most efficient way to stay strong and flexible throughout the rest of our entire lives, because it's a sustainable way to train all the way into our latest years. And so I want everybody to have a rebounder in their home and then know how to use it. So this video is going to help you learn exactly what to do in order to get into a joint that you have that you need to bring to all the way healed, 100% healed. I had an ankle injury that I dealt with for 8 years, and I finally got it healed all the way. And so I know that you can do the same. I do want to say, though, that I'm not a doctor or a physical therapist, and so you do need to consult with a medical professional if you, want to make sure that you're 100% safe in order to incorporate rebounding into your rehab routine. This is just a video for educational purposes only. All right, and then I also want to say that we nose breathe in our workouts and all day and not all night, because we learned that nose breathing is the proper way to breathe. But also when we started nose breathing, we were really able to tap into how healing keeping our breath calm is for the body, especially when we're doing rehab exercises. We want to make sure that we're staying in a very calm, light breath. We don't want to be over breathing, because that can bring more stress into the body. So we're going to keep our mouths closed with our jaw closed, and then we're going to keep our breath calm and keep it moving without holding the breath. We can keep the breath still, but we're not going to close our throat. And then we're going to move through the exercises. Okay, and then I want to say too that when it comes to rebounding and rehab, we do need to go through a process of starting with non-bouncing movements, and then we start to incorporate bouncing. So when we first initially get injured, there's going to be a period of swelling where we're going to need to just rest and reduce inflammation. But as soon as we get a hold of that inflammation, we get it down, we do need to start moving the joint as quickly as possible. But first, that might mean to start by working the surrounding joints so that you really are getting that circulation to your joint. And then you can bring yourself onto a rebounder and start to stabilize your injury. I'm using my elbow as an example. Stabilize the injury and start to bounce just very gently. And you would do this before and after your exercises. And then you would work into doing your exercises on the rebounder. So I hope that didn't confuse you. I just want you to know that when we go through rehab, there's lots of stages in the process of healing. And so depending on where you're at in your injury, you need to make sure to honor your body and where you're at, and then we can move through the stages to get you all the way healed. So If you are initially injured, then I do want you to start by stabilizing. So I'm actually not going to start, we're not going to do a 30-minute class, but this is going to be a 30-minute tutorial. And so what I want to do is go through all the body parts and start by showing you how you would stabilize the injury and bring circulation into the injury just by baby bouncing. And so if it's your neck, we're just going to hold your neck stable. You may even wear a neck brace to hold it stable. If it's your shoulders, I want you to have one of your shoulders, I want you to have your shoulders stable by having one hand across your arm, or you can have it down. It just depends on how you feel that there's no aggravation. You could even have a sling over your shoulder. You could also have your wrist braced against your body here. If it's a wrist injury or an elbow injury, you need to have it braced so there's no aggravation, as well as your hips, no aggravation here. And then with your knee and ankle, you can hang it over the side of the rebounder, and then you can lean your hand up against the wall. I'm going to actually switch sides. And then you can make your leg perfectly aligned in a straight line, and then you can hang your leg over the side of the rebounder and bring circulation to your knee and your ankle, as well as your hip. So if it was your right hip that was sore, then you would bounce on your left hip, and then you would just bounce like this. So this is how we initially get circulation to the injury. There also is sitting and laying down, which could be a way to get circulation to your injury. So sitting is actually a tough one for me because we are bringing the center of gravity down. And so I don't find I have as much stability with bouncing when I'm sitting on my bum. But when I'm laying down and I have an injury in my ankle and potentially my knee, I could lay on my back and just invert and promote circulation that way. And then I could potentially get bouncing with my other leg, just moving up and down like this very gently. And then I could stabilize this leg by holding it, holding my knee, holding my ankle, and bouncing. So this would be the initial stage of getting circulation to your injury. And then we need to start working into movements so that we can start to really get that range of motion going. And then we're going to work into more strengthening exercises. But know that just by putting yourself in this up and down motion, you're actually bringing strength to your injury as well as flexibility. So you may be holding your, for example, your wrist, you may be holding it still, but while you're bouncing, that's actually promoting circulation as well as flexibility into your joint. And then because you're increasing gravity with the up-down motion, you're also increasing strength. So trust in the baby steps to get you to each stage and the next stage in your rehab process so that you can go all the way with your injury. Okay, so what I want you to do is start with non-bouncing movements and stable bouncing movements. So I just showed you all of the stable injury movements that you would do on the rebounder. And then we need to go through and do all of the movements you would do that were non-bouncing. So for the neck, it's very basic. We would just do chin tucks, turns to the side, and then tilting to the side. And you do all of these movements slowly while your mouth is closed, and you work into your range of motion. And so then your rehab 3 times a day could be to baby bounce, and you can actually do exercises, neck exercises on your rebounder. This rehab routine that you would do 3 to 5 times a day could look like this. You start by baby bouncing for 15 seconds, then you stop. Then you do your neck exercises. You hold for 5 seconds on each side and down, and then you twist to the right and twist to the left. And what you do is, if there's a point where you turn your head and it hurts more, that's where you're injured, and that's where you need to work into that. And that's when you need to really pay attention to your breath and breathe into the stretch. And then when you're done with holding each position for 5 to 10 seconds, you could do it twice through. You finish your routine with a gentle bounce and you're done. And that's what you do 3 to 5 times a day. And then as you feel your neck is getting stronger, then you add in the baby bounce into your rehab routine that you do 3 to 5 times a day, and you start to do your gentle exercises while you're gently bouncing. And then, so what I'll do is just go through all of the neck motions, and then I'll go through the shoulders, and then the elbow, and then the wrist, and then the back, and the hips, and the knees, and the ankles. And so then, once you're starting to feel really comfortable with your neck exercises, then you just bring the bounce up more. And you just see how you're feeling. And you're always as present as you can be with your body. And so then you should be able to start to feel confident with doing more exercises on the rebounder, and your neck will continue to strengthen and strengthen more and continue to gain flexibility. And before you know it, this incredible healing of the up and down motion has brought your neck to full healing. But I'm here to remind you that if you skip steps in the process of your rehab, then you will need to go back and work into that joint more before you start doing workouts, because you have more flexibility work to do in that area, and then you can progress. It sometimes is hard for us to take a step back, but I know you can do it. And so let's go ahead and work into the shoulders. When it comes to the shoulder, we would want to have it stable, we would bounce, and then we would work exercises non-bouncing. So when we do shoulder shrugs, which would be typical up and down, I want you to stabilize your hand against your body, whether that's on your tummy or on your waist. And so then you have as much control while you're doing your range of motion through your shoulder. And you would do up and down, and you would do circles, and you could do forward and back. And what you want to do is you want to find the area that's tight, and then you want to work into that area. Nose breathing and staying as relaxed as possible. And then after you do this 3 to 5 times a day, and then you finish with a bounce, like I was saying, bounce, baby bounce before and after. After a few days, you're feeling more range of motion, you're feeling good, then you would do the same thing while baby bouncing, holding your waist and working into range of motion. Once you're feeling confident after these basic moves with the rotations, the circles, then you would start to work more into pulling your hand up and holding your hand behind your head, pushing into your hand and working into your flexibility here. And again, when you start these exercises, you could start by not bouncing, and so pushing in, and then also arm crossover, and then also holding the arm behind the back, and so that you're working into your flexibility by pulling your arm behind you, just like this. And then you would go into bouncing while doing these same 3 positions: behind you, across, and up. And so when you're getting your shoulder healed, if there's any position that you feel has tightness and a little pain, you need to work into that position more so that you really go in. Stay calm in your nose breathing. You will get your shoulder healed. Then you can start to work into more movements while you're jumping, and you'll start to notice that your range of motion is good. And then you can start to do more swimming strokes and notice that you're on the mend. And throughout the day too, keep it moving. You want to keep it moving, and not only moving, you want to keep working into that area that feels tight, and it will start to feel better and better as you work into it. So now we want to do the elbow. Again, we want to make sure that we have our hand braced against our body when we work into the elbow. So the elbow ones I have here, when we could do wrist circles. So prayer position for the elbow. So you would have your hands in prayer position, and you want to work into all of the positions that you can move your hands around. So your elbow's stable by having your hands together. And then you work around, and you just keep finding positions that will get into the area that's sore in your elbow. And keep moving around. Then you'll be like, oh, there it is. I feel it. I got it. Yep. And just work into that area. This specifically here is helping to get into a tightness that I have here. And then we're good, come back, and then you could finish your rehab with a bounce. And then you're working into bouncing while doing these same positions. Another one you could do is to lace your hands again behind you, and you could pull. So this would be a really good stretch through the elbow just by interlacing and pulling down. I feel stretched through my elbow here. My arms are braced against my body, again, giving me more control through the joint stretch. And then I could hold here and I could start to bounce. This would be when I started incorporating bouncing into the rehab exercises that I'm doing. And if I keep working into that tightness and into that pain, I'm gonna heal it. I'm gonna heal it. You're gonna heal it, okay? That's the trick. And we just wanna work our way through. If at any point there's sharp pain, we need to stop in that position or stop bouncing. Just take it a step back, and so that you can get into a position where there's no sharp pain. So then the wrists too as well. We want to work, we can work our wrists. So a lot of these movements cover multiple joints. Just by having the hands on the waist here, we can stop and we can hold our body and push into our body and stretch into our wrists very gently. And then we can switch positions as well by turning our hands back and just lightly pushing in and finding the tightness that's in the wrists. No matter where, we need to just push into our bodies to gain that flexibility in the wrists. As we nose breathe and stay calm, and then we work into doing these same movements while we're bouncing. And so this would be, as often as we can get onto our rebounders through the day, we would incorporate bouncing into our rehab. But notice when you are in your everyday, you're at work, you're doing this or doing that, do these exercises all day long when you're really starting to feel confident in your range of motion in your joint. And also though, don't overdo it. I have learned that you can overstretch. I don't want to scare you into stretching or not stretching enough, but just know that if you start to go ham with it, you could potentially overstretch it, and then you'll just have like a day setback, and then you'll be able to feel back to normal after that, just because too much stretching can cause aggravation just as much as not stretching at all, because then tightness accumulates, and that's what will cause aggravation. Okay, so let's go ahead and work down to the back and the hips. So first of all, while we're standing, we can do a lot of back and hip stretching. We can also do back and hip stretching sitting and laying down. So this is a classic move to get into the hips and the lower back and just lean side to side on our rebounders. And what we can also do too when we start to incorporate bouncing is we can start to twist and shift our weight so that we take some weight off. Let's say I wanted to stretch this hip, okay? I twist and I lean into my other leg, and so there's not as much weight on this leg. My foot's still planted, and then I bounce on this leg and notice that I'm getting a nice gentle stretch here in this left hip, and there's not as much weight on it. And this, just holding this here will feel really good. And then I can start to twist deeper because I have my handlebar. I can loosen up my knee and my ankle and just get into my hip gently and safely. So if I wake up with back pain, I will come onto my rebounder and I'll just hold these positions. And notice how my hand is going to my back. So my other hand is going to my back here as I twist and shift my weight forward into this front leg and work into the opposite hip here in my back. And then I have my handlebar support here as I turn. This way I'm feeling as stable as possible, because I really feel like when we have ourselves, our limbs connected to ourselves, we have the most stability with working into injuries. So we twist and we hold, calmly nose breathe, and then we come out of the move gently. And I was doing all of that while bouncing, but you can do that not bouncing at first, and then you can work into bouncing. You might be surprised at how quickly you can start bouncing in these exercises, and you'll be good to go. And so this is what we want to do, is anytime we have tightness, we want to come to our rebounder and we want to work into it very gently and safely. And so these are the standing exercises for hips and back. Another one we could do would be to sit, and we would just rock side to side. And what we do is you pull your hip up and you feel your back stretching. And if this is getting into the tightness in your back and hips, then this is a move that you want to do. Only do moves that work into your area, the injury that you're working. And then the same with the back. You can lay down on your rebounder. And you can also do this on a yoga mat, but you have the option to be on this flexible surface. So while you're doing, you could do tucks here and you could roll back and forth. You could do happy baby and you could hold your legs just like this and you could rock back and forth. You can also do crossover and just rotate your knees side to side, stretching into your back. You can have a towel on your rebounder for maximum comfort with a pillow underneath your head. And then you can work into your back stretching just like this. And depending on where you're at with, your strength in your core or your ankle, your rebounding journey, you could then lift your feet up and start to bounce and promote circulation into your back, into your hips, and into your legs. And that's just, an added bonus that you get just by doing exercises on your back, inverted. So another beautiful way to use the rebounder, but again, we want to work into the injury in the safest way possible, no matter how we need to do it. Sometimes we need to be standing, but sometimes we need to take it down and lay down and just be in a more comfortable position so we can really go into the injury and get into that flexibility and strength. So now we're going to do the knees and the ankles. Again, they kind of work together because there are specific ones. So when it comes to the knees, I actually like to, I'm going to get my towel here. The knees are really good. I just figured out some really cool knee exercises because the knee is tricky and I don't want us to, I want us to have as much support as we can when it comes to the knees. So what we want to do is sit on our rebounders and we want to sit back. And so now we have our legs up on the rebounder just like this. And what we want to do is start by working into the flexing of the quad. And so then the knee starts to stretch out in its straight position. And we just flex and hold and relax and work into that range of motion just like this. And then we can also squeeze our quad and we can start to rotate here. And I know for sure, because I've had knee pain, I've had pain in every single joint in my body. I twist and I can feel that is working into and around the knee. And so if you're doing this exercise at the point that you feel that you've got tightness and pain, hold there and nose breathe. And just stay calm and work into it. And again, these are non-bouncing movements, so you're just being gentle, but you need to work into that range of motion by flexing the quad. And then what you want to do is take your sore knee and prop it up onto your other leg. So now you've got that support, and then you're going to start to play the violin with your leg, and you're going to be rubbing it up and down your other leg, and you could hold your sore knee as well. Support your knee as much as possible, and then rub this leg up and down so that you have that weight, you're supporting your weight of your leg, and then work into your range of motion with your knee. Pull your foot in and bend this knee and get into any sort of pain. Don't be afraid. We all get injured, and the injury will be at a random spot in the joint. And so it could be in the inner, it could be the outer, it could be the top, it could be the bottom, but you just have to go in and work into it with your nose breathing. And then after that, you could turn and lift up. So I'm going to actually switch knees. So if this knee were the injured knee, I could rotate away from my injured knee so that my injured knee could roll up onto my other leg, and now it's leaning up against this, and I could rotate it now and move my back ankle so that I'm bending it in the opposite direction, as opposed to rubbing it this way. My ankle is coming up in front of me. Now my ankle is coming out behind me. So now I'm working into the back side of the knee. And so then what I want you to do is play the violin here as well, and support your leg as much as you can. You just want to make sure that your knee is feeling like you're getting into that range of motion and flexibility in your knee joint. All right. And then when you are feeling like your knee is getting stronger, then we need to start doing the strengthening exercises. And that would be to stand and you don't need to have the towel, but you would just stand on your rebounder and you start to push gently into your rebounder mat. And then you work by pointing your toes outward. I'll go ahead and show you here. By pointing your toes outward and then pointing your toes forward and then pointing your toes inward. And there's going to be a spot that's going to say ouch. And if it's sharp, then come out of it and get back to just parallel. But if it's good pain and it's pain that you need to work into, slow your breath down and just work slowly. Now I might even be walking fast, but you don't have to walk fast at all. You could even you could put most of your weight on your good knee, and then you could just barely put weight into your sore knee. And that's how you start to add strength to your knee. You first want to start with the flexibility work as much as you can, and then you want to start strengthening. And your goal is to get it as strong as you can. So you need to come in while you're doing your exercises and work into the strength progressively. Work into it more and more as the days and the weeks go by. We want you healed as quickly as possible. All right, so then let's go ahead and do some ankle. So the ankle, and then you could also do this for the knee. The ankle exercise, first you can hang it over the side of the rebounder and bounce and work into the range, and not bounce, work into the range of motion by rotating the ankle around. And what I did when I had my ankle injury was I would point it down and around and hold it. As soon as I found the point of pain, I just held and breathed through it. And then I would finish by bouncing. So always, we're still working in the same format of circulation and then stretching and then circulation and then working into being able to bring circulation while stretching. And so this is an excellent move for the ankle to start, and then we can do the same thing by bearing weight. We can just have all of our weight on the good ankle, and we can start to put weight into the weaker ankle, into the injured ankle, and then we can start to push more into it. We can do calf raises, an excellent way to work into the range of motion of the ankles on this beautiful flexible mat here. And then we can start to add bouncing, and we can start to lift up and come up onto the toes as we're bouncing and take it easy. And we can even do little itty bitty heel lifts, alternating heel lifts. Nose breathing. And then again, if you're noticing that your ankle, and I'm going to talk now about all of the injuries or all of the joints, all the injuries that you may have or that any of you may have. If you're not healing your joint injury, that means that you need to go in and dig deeper, and you need to go find more spots in there that are tight, because it's tightness that has got you sore. And so if you work into your tightness, then you will heal your injury. And then you should be able to take these daily classes that we do here for 30 minutes, 6 days a week, and be just fine. And then you also have options of doing any of the classes that we have on this YouTube channel. In the playlist section, we have classes that range from 5 to 60 minutes of all levels. And then our most advanced classes, which we still feel are good for jumpers that have experience jumping but aren't at the most advanced level, you still are welcome to consider joining our daily membership classes, which are more intense bodybuilding aerobic style classes. And so those are the most current recent workouts that we offer with all of the latest strategies that we have learned over the years and that we bring to these classes. And so that's the most advanced workouts that I would say. Actually, some of the classes that we have on YouTube in our playlist section are actually more advanced in a sense, we're not nose breathing though in a lot of those classes, and so we have switched to nose breathing fully. So if you do any of those playlist workouts, just make sure to nose breathe. And then you can just take your rebounding journey anywhere you would like to go. You can freestyle for the rest of your life on your rebounder. You can join our membership. You can stick with our playlist workouts. You can just do absolutely anything you want. These daily classes that we offer here, free 30 minutes, Sunday through Friday, are just a wonderful foundational workout for you to stay in that good health that you deserve to stay in. And then if you desire more, you can jump into more classes and more workouts on this channel. So I hope this Rebounder rehab tutorial taught you something about getting your injury healed. I do want to mention real quick about plantar fasciitis. If you have soreness in an area that's not joint related, we've got to work into that area by massaging into that area and then also bringing circulation. So the Rebounder is here for you to bring the circulation, and then you need to work into the area and rub into the area. So the bottom of the foot needs all your love and support and attention multiple times a day. Just treat it like rehab. And you can also roll your foot onto a frozen water bottle and onto a tennis ball and work into any soreness that you can find in the bottoms of your feet. The bottoms of the feet too are like reflexology. They really work into full body health. And so it's almost a good thing to do daily. But after so long, you find that, you don't have any more soreness in there, then you don't want to rub into it. But it's a good habit to get into. And so any other injuries that you may have, just work into the area. It's like pressure points. Find the points that are painful. In the reflexology book that we had, they say if there's points in your stomach that you push, if there's any pain in there, you need to work into it and rub it out. The trick is to nose breathe. It's not a trick. It's just the key is to nose breathe, jaw closed, and work into any pain that you might find. And if any pain arises at any point in your rebounding journey or in your life, try not to get overwhelmed. Know that if you stay as relaxed as possible, it will find its healing path quickly. And so you just need to take the steps to work into getting it healed, and then you will be on your way. And know that I am 40 and I have still had every injury come up. And this is how I've learned all of the ways to rehab. And it's because when we're jumping instead, and we haven't been jumping since we were kids, because typically we're jumping as kids and then we stop jumping, then hopefully we discover jumping again and get back to it, because it really is one of the best ways to be healthy and fit in life and on earth because of the way we defy gravity here. Then there's this period of time where we're not jumping and our joints have gotten really tight. And so when we start jumping again, and if we're pushing the limits, then we can notice that we overwork our joints here and there, and we have to take a step back. I don't encourage that you ever push the limits. I, as a trainer, just have possibly taken it upon myself to push the limits just to see what the Rebounder is capable of. And in that, I have had to take time off for injuries, but I've healed every single one of them. And some of them have been serious. Well, my 8-year ankle injury was the most serious, but I've also had a knee injury so bad I could not even lift it to get it up in the car. I had a wrist injury so bad I went to the ER and thought that, it was broken. And it's just strain. Strain can cause pain so much. And then we have to just rest it, get it circulating again, and then get it back to flexible and strong with the help of a Rebounder. So, okay, trophies, if you learned something, this video is valuable to you, please like it and also share it with any family member or friend that you know that might have an injury, so that they can take their injury and get it healed with a Rebounder. I didn't even mention what Rebounder this is. I recommend the Cellar Sizer Rebounder because this Rebounder has so much support through the springs and through the mat. The springs are made with really strong steel, so they're made to be very supportive and give you the resistance that you need to have the strength that you need to get back into your joints. So the resistance from the springs is going to get your joints really strong again. Bungee cords will get your joints strong, but not as strong as the resistance in the springs. But I don't want to discourage you from bungees, because this is just the highest level of strength, but a bungee could get you right where you need to be. But if you notice you're not getting an injury healed and you're on a bungee unit, consider the Cellerciser spring, because this is the only spring on the market that's made with the steel that's the highest quality, strongest steel that will not stretch out. And you need to make sure that the steel is strong. And also the mat material. This is a huge part of how you bounce. And this mat right here, I don't know if you noticed, but when I push into this mat, it has this nice give, almost like smooth as butter, where I push down into it. And you want that feeling in your rebounder where you're having this nice experience of resistance. This resistance mat is a very smooth, nice resistance mat, as opposed to other rebounders where the mat is tight and it doesn't have that give to it. It's supportive. It's not necessarily going to stretch, but you need it to have a little bit of give in order for you to really have a smooth up and down. So my experience is that the Cellerciser has the mat, the best mat that I have found yet on the market, and then the strongest springs to give you the most resistance that you need to build that strength back up in your joints and your muscles. Go as far as you can with the rebounder that you have. And then if you need to upgrade to the Cellerciser, or if you just want to start with the Cellerciser from the start, the description box below will have all of the information that you need. You're welcome to leave a comment as well on this video if you have any questions. I haven't tried every rebounder on the market, so there could be rebounders out there that are fantastic. And so I just want you to give your rebounder a try, and then consider the Cellerciser rebounder if you just want to go with the professional grade, physical therapy grade rebounder that I have found on the market. And my website is ijumpinstead.com, and you can find it all in the description box. So I'll see you in the comments if you have any questions. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and happy healing to you. And I'll see you in class for regular class tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.